So in this question, we're going to look at which one of these is most soluble in water. And I have four compounds in here: ethanol, ethanal, chloroethane, and glycol. And as always, we determine what the intermolecular forces are, and we have a little bit of London in solvent, in water, and it is mostly dipole, very strong dipole and H bonding. And so we look over here, we have London, they all have London, these all have London, so that's kind of all going to cancel out, and they're all about the same size. There's not much difference in London, but there is a lot of difference in the dipole and the H bonding. So we have, for ethanol, we have this polar part here. For ethanal, we have polar part. And for chloroethane, we have a polar part out here, but it's not very polar in there. And glycol, we have two polar parts. And we also have, for these three, we have strong hydrogen bonding. So the one that has the strongest hydrogen bonding will be the glycol down at the bottom, because it has two OH groups that can both hydrogen bond. And so since water has a lot of H bonding and a lot of dipole, glycol down here in the bottom is going to be the most soluble one. If I was to put these in order, glycol would be the most soluble, ethanol, then ethanol, that's very close, and then chloroethane. Ethanol is not quite as soluble, ethanal, with the AL ending, because it has an oxygen that can hydrogen bond. It does not have a hydrogen bonded to it. So while it can still hydrogen bond, it doesn't contribute to the hydrogen bonding itself. That's why I put it a little bit lower in the list than ethanol. So that's the order over here on the right on this. So one more problem. Let's look at pentane. CH2, CH3, CH2, 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 CH3. Okay? And it has particularly London forces. So I want to know what are the most soluble, or I want to order the solubility. So our problem with these, while they all have London, some of them have H bonding and dipole. This has H bonding and dipole. This chloropropane only has dipole, besides its London. They all have London. And the carbon tetrachloride only has London. And so clearly the carbon tetrachloride down here in the bottom will be the most soluble. So I'll start it out here. CCl4 on the right is going to have greater solubility. And then when I look at these, the chloropropane doesn't have hydrogen bonding, and so it's going to be the next one in the list, chloropropane. And then I got to decide between these two, and this one, the methanol has a larger percentage of hydrogen bonding and dipole in its overall molecule than ethanol. So ethanol will have less, so it will have more London, relatively more. And so I'll put ethanol here, and then methanol. And those are your types of problems that you'll see in the homework and on the exam. Remember to do the homework.